I think I officially love Grand Seiko. What is up, guys, and welcome back. You might have seen my last video on Grand Seiko and how I'm really being won over to them as a brand. And we've had a friend of the channel reach out. He's just picked this up today and he asked if I wanted to do some filming. So we've got it while it's hot, fresh out the oven. And it's only making me want a Grand Seiko even more. So today we have in the brand new, just released Grand Seiko SBGW289 44GS 55th Anniversary Limited Edition. But that's a bit of a mouthful. I feel like that's one of the greatest downfalls of Grand Seiko. Their names. They're too much. They're not memorable, but the watches are. I actually remember the first time I ever saw a Grand Seiko, and I remember thinking, there's something really weird and strange and distinctive about this watch. But I couldn't quite place my finger on what was so unique and distinctive about it, because in every way it looked like every other watch. Baton indices, two hands, a normal bracelet. But there was something about it that was distinctive. It didn't look like every other watch. And that is what this watch is celebrating. This watch is celebrating the 55th anniversary of the 44GS, a watch released in 1967 that gave birth to the Grand Seiko style that we know and love today. Sharp angles, flat surfaces, wide lugs, Zaratsu polishing, and of course, the mirror finishing. It was the watch that determined the Grand Seiko aesthetic. Keeping true to the 44GS, the SBGW289 has a 36.5mm case, thin profile with a thickness of 11.6 millimeters, stainless steel case, 100 meters water resistance, with the well-known and well-loved caliber 9S64 hand-wound movement. Pretty awesome specs, and this watch is actually quite limited as well, with only 1,200 made. If you haven't got one yet and you want one, I think they're sold out. But maybe you can get one on the secondary market. I don't know. I'm just so happy to get hands-on with such a fantastic piece. And as we all know by this point in the game, Grand Seiko has a massive boner for nature and designing watches inspired by nature. So this watch is inspired by Sakura Kakushi. I'm sorry for the butchering of the Japanese language. I'm sorry, Japanese viewers. It's inspired by that brief moment in spring, when in northern Japan, the snow and cherry blossom coexists. And this is expressed through the dial, with the handsome texture and the pale pink hue, almost silvery in certain lighting. It's original, but not too overpowering. These Grand Seiko pieces can be a bit of a catfish if you're hoping for a little bit more of a bold blue, because they're really subtle, soft hues. I think the perfect way to describe this watch is balanced. It has this delicate textured pale pink dial, almost feminine feeling, contrasted against the sharp edges, Zaratsu polishing, aggressive hands, and the masculine bracelet. It really does feel like a true unisex watch, especially with the 36.5mm sizing. But on a larger wrist, it really feels a lot more dressy and refined. Here it is on my 5.5-inch wrist and my husband's 6.5-inch wrist. I wouldn't recommend this watch for a 7 or more inch wrist, but it depends on how you like wearing your watches. That would just be my advice. In Grand Seiko's marketing, they have it next to a lot of like pink cherry blossoms and represented in a really feminine way, which I think could deter insecure men from buying this. Worried it might call into question their alpha male status. Can't buy a watch with flowers in the picture. Grr. But I actually think it's best worn on a 6.5-inch wrist. It helps it maintain the dress watch feeling. Not to say it doesn't look hot on a woman. This is definitely a watch you could wear with a suit going to work, if people still wear suits to work. I feel like the workplace has gotten a lot more casual. But you could wear it with a suit. But you could also wear it really casually with like jeans and a t-shirt. Being time only, no loom, I'd say it's much more of a dress watch, but it still has that sporty edge with the 100 meters water resistance. And I'm one of those dress watch traditionalists who thinks a second's hand feels a little bit too sporty for a dress watch. I'll allow it, but it's a sporty dress watch. Inside this watch, we have the caliber 9S64 hand-wound movement. Now this is quite an unusual movement for Grand Seiko, lacking a date and being hand-wound. When it was introduced in late 2011, it was the only hand-winding movement in the line until the caliber 9S63 was introduced in 2019. This movement is also found within one of my favorite Grand Seiko models, the SBGW289. Hand-wound isn't for everyone. I personally love a hand-wound movement. I love connecting with my watches every day or every time I wear them. It's just a preference thing. And the SBGW289 has 72 hours power reserve and an accuracy of +5, -3 seconds per day. Honestly, I love it. It has everything I'm looking for in a watch. It has heritage. It's beautiful, it's uncompromising, a great unisex piece. I really don't have many bad things to say about it. If you made me nitpick, the bracelet isn't quite up to snuff for me. Just adding in a taper would make it so much more refined and elevate it that much more. And there's no micro adjustments. I could be wrong, there's not much material about it quite yet, but I've not been able to find a micro adjust. And just the same problem, nitpicky problem I have with all Grand Seikos. I just can't remember the name. It needs a cute nickname, like the Kirby or the Jigglypuff. Okay, those are stupid. I'll edit that out. But something more memorable than the 44GS 55th Anniversary Limited Edition SBGW289. We can do better. And forgive me for talking about the R word. I know we don't like to talk about it here, but I think that's one thing Rolex does really well. It's embracing the nicknames and getting the community excited to make new names. We already have a new name for the left-hand drive. The Shrek. But even muggles probably know the Hulk or the Pepsi. People know these things and it sticks in their brains. And I think Grand Seiko could capitalize on some stuff like that. But as always, guys, you already know the deal. These are just my thoughts. And this isn't a comprehensive review. I've just had this in. It's fresh out of the oven. And I just had to share it with you guys. What do you guys think to this watch? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you not know? I don't know. Let us know everything in those comments down below. And as always, don't forget to do all that awesome YouTube stuff. Feed the algorithm gods. Give this video a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed. Do it. And until next time, you beautiful, fabulous, wonderful watch nerds. Bye.